So good afternoon, everyone. It's 3:19. It's the hour of great mercy. So in other words, alam ko inaantok ng iba sa inyo. Pero I'll keep this as lively as possible. I'm going to talk to you about a product that's close to my heart. I've been doing ZENworks for many, many years. Talking about more than 10 years now. The product is called Microfocus ZENworks, and I'm going to talk to you about the concept of unified endpoint management and protection. So as you well know that the most, if not all of the subject matter right now is all about security. What I'm going to tell you right now is a unified concept of not just security, but managing that security itself. And this is specifically for endpoints. Now, I have to be clear, when I say endpoints, it's basically this: servers, desktops, laptops, mobile devices. So that's the whole point. What? Why? When we talk about unified endpoint management, the message should be quite clear for everyone. And this should be an understanding that should resonate across any industry. You cannot secure that you cannot manage. Ibig sabihin, kapag hindi mo siya mamamanage, hindi mo siya fully masisecure. Right? Ganun lang yun. Ganun lang actually kasimple. That's why our category, the way we look at endpoint protection is to look at it in a more holistic, in a more unified manner. So I'm going to go through a few of the slides. Please do ask your questions. The team of VSTCS handling Microfocus is on standby to help answer your questions as well. In the event that they cannot, I'm also ready to answer your questions later on. Okay, so don't worry, just place it in the chat. I'll be able to answer your questions as soon as I can. Okay, let me proceed. Okay, let me talk about Microfocus first. For those of you who don't know what we are and what we do. Okay, so Microfocus, we deliver mission critical software. Okay, that keeps the digital world running. Think of us as that big company for many of the products that you might know, pero hindi nyo alam kung sino yung kumpanya sa likod. Kumbaga, hindi nyo malalaman masyado yung Microfocus itself kasi mas naka-focus kami dun sa brand namin. That's why on our side, our concept is quite simple. Microfocus is basically high-tech but low drama. Okay, you won't see us in what they call this in television commercials or even a lot of commercials on the web, okay, because we would like our products to speak for themselves. Okay, so that's what we do. Okay, so by default, we are in the top 10 of the world's largest enterprise software providers, and I'm just talking about ZENworks here. ZENworks is just part of over 300 products that we carry worldwide. Okay? We have more than 40,000 customers, companies that we consider our customers worldwide. We have 98 of the Fortune 100 customers, and we have over 6,500 partners worldwide. In the Philippines, we're almost 200 employees here in the Philippines right now, but we are present in roughly 49 countries, 12,000 of us all around. And then 20% of our revenue is spent on research and development. And then we have over 2,700 technology patents across all of our different product lines. And we're just, and as I said earlier, it's more than 300 products actually. So I'm just gonna talk about one product line. I'm just gonna talk about ZENworks. Okay. Oh, I forgot this slide. Okay, we have a blue chip customer base. One of our biggest partners is BMW. Basically, you know cars, right? Right now, yung mga bagong sasakyan, lahat yung computer boxes. The software that runs through those computer boxes, specifically for BMW, it's our technology that is being used to build the software for BMW, what we call this vehicles. Okay, so just one fine example of what we are and what we're doing. Okay, so let's speak about the new reality. Okay, it's quite simple. I'm just gonna go through this as fast as I can. Number one, everybody knows this, cloud adoption. Okay, everybody is now using cloud. Now, if you are using Office 365, if you're using Google, if you are using Spotify, if you're using Grab, basically we are on an individual level, we are actually adopting the cloud. So imagine companies also doing the same, right? Adopting the cloud. So that's a very much a reality that is happening right now. And this is fast tracked by basically what has happened worldwide, the pandemic. Remember the time na maraming hindi pa, like for example, we were doing Lazada before, but then ito na ngayon si Shopee, right? And then nandito na yung si Grab. Like everybody's doing it. Why? Because now it's the people have come to terms with the fact that it's now easier to do business online because most of the systems are now cloud-based, right? That's number one. Number two, because of that, and you just look at your, if you look at your phones na lang, di ba, yung mga dina-download yung applications, right? That in itself tells us a reality. And the reality is this: application development is on the rise. If you're doing Minecraft or if your kids are doing Minecraft, basically that's how they start to learn and understand and appreciate what coding is all about. So right now, I remember I started coding or I started programming kasi programming pa yung tawag dati. Started programming when I was in third year high school. I won't tell you what decade. Okay, but then that's the whole point. It took me high school pa. Many among you siguro college nag-start, right? But right now, even in the curriculum ng mga eskwelahan, coding is already part and parcel hanggang sa elementary level. Why? Because of this, because of the rise in application development. The appreciation of the discipline of coding is already being given to us on a platter because of graphical user interfaces. Gone were the days na ang coding is command line, no? Right now, practically you can do code because it's graphical interfacing ginagamit, right? So this is a reality. And if you just look at your phones, ang dami-daming apps, right? That's basically it, the rise in application development. And third, and most of us are doing this right now, the growth in remote work. Most of us are doing this remotely. I've been doing remote work for 5 years now. Okay, so in other words, the only time I really go to our office is kung magpapalit ako ng laptop or may kailangan ako sa HR. But because of the pandemic, even us in Microfocus, hindi na. Anything I need to do. HR requirement, kailangan ko ng certificate of employment, I need to do something about my field health or anything like that. I just have to go through our service portal online and I can do it at the comfort of my home. Right? So ngayon gano'n na rin. The workplace has now been transported from the office to the home or even anywhere basta may internet. So the growth in remote work is there, and that's the reality. And the fourth reality is this. Because of the cloud adoption, kanina I was listening to Fortinet. Sabi niyo to, which is very good, no? Kasi nga, because of cloud adoption and because there's just too many applications being created every day, and that everybody is connecting remotely, incidents or in cyber attacks have grown exponentially, right? So I will not talk about all of that. I think you've heard many of that before and you've seen that in the news already. So it's a reality. Everybody is now experiencing this surge in cyber attacks because everybody is practically online. Even your kids are online, and everybody who has kids are always worrying about whether yung anak ba nila, yung account nila na-hack. So it's still always in the back of our minds. So this is the new reality. And what can we do about it? What are the mitigating steps that we can do in order to face this reality that is happening right now? And that's where we talk about the concept of detecting and responding to the threats. What Microfocus strength is this. Because we have more than 300 product lines, artificial intelligence and machine learning is not just something that we say, because it is something that we do. Okay? In other words, we sell machine learning, we sell artificial intelligence tools. So we have that product. Second, I already talked about it, unsupervised machine learning. And then AI-enabled rich data analytics. And then fourthly, behavioral analytics. We have products that are doing this. And the strength of that is because we have these products being carried, developed by Microfocus internally, and also sold to customers worldwide. our other products carry the same technology. In other words, hindi parang isla-isla yung aming mga produkto. In other words, many of our products, the underlying technology is also based on the same products that we sell. In other words, we eat our own cake, no? So we do have technologies for multi-layer analysis, for machine learning, for rich data analytics, and the fourth one, and this is very important right now, UEBA, or user behavior analytics. And this is one of our biggest strengths over many of our competitors. So let me talk about Micro Focus ZENworks. What is it all about? It's a unified endpoint management and protection portfolio. First, what does it do? It provides a robust lifecycle management strategy for all your endpoint devices, from purchase to retirement. In other words, pag yung kumpanya nyo bumili ng PC, bumili ng Android phone, bumili ng tablet, bumili ng laptop, bumili ng server, from the time na binili siya hanggang sa ma-retire mo siya, ZENworks can handle that for you. ZENworks has the tools to enable you to properly manage the asset that you have. Not just your hardware, but also the software that comes or installed into your systems. So that's what you call life cycle management. So that's primarily what ZENworks does, is to make sure na yung ecosystem ng hardware ninyo and software ninyo, you have a way to manage it from day zero hanggang sa ma-retire siya. So that's the first. Second, and this is where I will be focusing a lot, securing your endpoint device against common vulnerabilities. Yes, you can manage it. The next point there is to secure it. So we will manage it and at the same time secure it. And third is protecting company data that lives on endpoint devices. This particular module of ours is geared towards those particular devices, PCs or laptops, that has confidential data on it. Hindi ibig sabihin lahat lalagyan mo ng ganitong technology on data protection. Okay? So these are the three things that we are doing as far as ZENworks unified management and protection is concerned. So lifecycle management, security, and data protection. Yan ang tatlo. So ganun lang siya kasimple. The key there is this, and this is the biggest difference between many of our competitors as well. We can do that because we are identity-centric. Our basis is to connect it basically using an identity source. For example, if you are heavy on using Active Directory, we will use Active Directory in order to maximize the management of your devices. Kasi hindi naman importante, kunyari, let's say, alam nyo lang yung IP address, alam mo lang yung MAC address, pero kung di mo alam kung sino yung gumagamit or kung sino yung nakalog on ngayon habang ginagamit yung device, then you are actually failing one of the most important aspects of security. Knowing who is accessing what, when, and where. Yun ang pinakamahalaga. Okay, so let's put it this way. If you're doing endpoint management, okay, if you're an IT guy, if you're the IT administrator, the whole point is that the user, all your users, just want to get their work done. Okay, they don't care where they are doing it, kung anong ginagamit nila, as long as nagagawa nila yung trabaho nila. So using the device that they have, where they are, and when they need, that's all they think. They don't care about whether minamanage ng IT. Actually, gagayat nga sila, di ba, pinapakialaman ng IT yung computers nila. What if you have a system that if you just put in there, hindi na mahalata ng, what they call this, ng end user, yung management side. Kasi as far as the end user is concerned, or the actual user, the computer is concerned, hindi naman niya kailangan. Ang kailangan lang magawa niya yung trabaho niya. That's the first thing. Another thing, if the user doesn't have what they need, next question is, then the user must have a system that they can access so that they can easily request what they need and it can be quickly fulfilled or served. So yan ang hinihingi lagi ng end user. Number one, magawa ko trabaho ko. Pangalawa, pag may kailangan ako, may paraan para humingi or mag-request. At kung mai-request, ay ma-fulfill ng mabilis. That's the second one. And third, and this is basically the biggest challenge in the Philippines, IT needs to be able to automate the fulfillment while adhering to business governance. In other words, hindi naman lahat i-fulfill mo. Pero dapat sasabay siya kung ano ang rules and regulations ng business ninyo or yung requirement ng business ninyo. Right? So, tatlo yon. Number one, ulitin ko, users, the employees just want to have their jobs done. Second, if they need something, there's a way to be able to request it, fulfill it, and then IT must be able to automate it. Otherwise, mabubulo na ng IT. Okay? So yun yung tatlo. And that's actually the balancing act that we want to happen or we want to fulfill. So basically users don't think about security. Diba? Users, they don't care about security as far as they are concerned. Ay, trabaho ng IT yan. Trabaho ng IT yan. So the IT needs tools to allow them to seamlessly assist users in staying secure and to protect their data. So in other words, I hate to say it, but typically what happens with IT security in companies is we either binibaby yung empleyado or pinapagalitan or hinahawakan ng hindi ng kid gloves, no, ang empleyado to make sure na sumusunod sila sa proseso. Okay? And the other one is that you make sure that your endpoints, yung device nyo, hindi sila yung cause at hindi sila yung source ng what they call this, ng breach. Ng data breach, ng security breach, ng network breach. Yun ang ayaw mo mangyari kung ikaw yung sa IT security. Right? So another thing that we need to consider is this one. Okay? Roughly 50% of any company's unstructured data ay nakalagay sa mga computers at saka sa mga cellphones at sa mga laptops. Those that are contained in files and folders sa My Documents, sa Drive D, sa Drive E, kasi unstructured data yan. It's not part of a database. But those data are in a computer, in a PC, in a workstation. If it's a laptop, at HR yan, at nandyan yung payroll, napaka-importante ng laptop na yan. Diba? So that is very important. So the point there is, how do you secure that laptop? How do you make sure that that laptop, okay, can be protected kahit wala ka dun? So security isn't the only thing that security guys or network guys or the infrastructure guys are have to worry about, because there are many things that you need to worry about. You need to think about whether there are files that were accidentally deleted, if installations of software will cause version conflicts, and this is the one that we hate, hardware failure, kasi ang issue dyan is replacing equipment, right? So these are concerns na kailangan ma-cover ng tools na hinahanap ninyo, okay, in order to fix those particular needs or challenges. So let's talk about ZENworks, okay? So I'll show you what ZENworks does. So kanina sinabi ko, we manage it, we secure it, and we protect it. So you just look at the color scheme and you will find out which of our modules are covering management, security, and protection. So we'll start with the base. The base is this. Our concept is identity-based management, security, and protection across any and all endpoint devices, right? So whether you're using, let's say, Active Directory, or maybe you're using eDirectory or any other directory service, or let's say you're using Azure Directory, for example. As long as it's identity-based, we can now link the hardware with the particular user using it at any point in time, wherever they are. So let's look at the first product. Kaya medyo yung color niya halo-halo is because our first product there is configuration management. It can do management, security, and protection. So this is the core product. What it does is lifecycle management from purchase to retirement, okay, of anything. So it includes automated operating system deployment. Imagine di ka na mag-install hiwa-hiwalay. Imagine you don't need to put in a USB device or whatever, removable hard disk, go to each machine and install. Ang sa amin, ganito lang. Katulad ng desktop ko ngayon or laptop ko, sorry, is nandiyan na yung ZENworks ko, nakaset siya. Then kapag kailangan yung mag-upgrade, yung IT namin, which is based, I don't know where, okay, kasi naka-follow the sun kami, okay, can simply roll out applications as they need. And we don't have to even go to the office. Actually, kaya nga hindi ako pupunta. The only time I go to the office is kung papalit ako yung laptop ko. Pero kung di ko kailangan palitan at kailangan ko ng application, I simply go through it and then just download it from our software center, which is actually being run using ZENworks. So yan yung ginagawa niya, OS deployment, Second, application distribution and management. So we can distribute the application according to the level of the employee. Kung management, niche management, senior management, rank and file, anong department. So we categorize the application based on those. So that pag ni-roll out siya, nag-log in yung user sa Active Directory niya, i-deploy ng ZENworks yung software na kailangan niya according to his job role and description. So yan application distribution and management. Now, since we have that, since we do the deployment, we also know the inventory. Alam namin kung nasaan, alam niyo if you're using ZENworks, alam mo kung nasaan yung makina mo. Alam mo kung ano yung equipment mo. Okay? And you're running that inventory anytime you want, regardless kung nasaan siya. So that's what configuration management does. So the other product that we have is called asset management. So baka malito kayo, kanina sabi ko may inventory. Now, this one is an upgrade of inventory management because this one already tracks software license management. And kanina, di ba sinabi ko from purchase to retirement, ito naman, pati lahat ng kontrata. Imagine lahat ng binili ng purchasing nyo, you just give them a copy. Sabihin mo sa purchasing pengin ng PDF file nung kontrata namin kay, let's say, kontrata nyo kay PLDT o kontrata nyo kung kanino mang vendor. Alam nyo kung kailan yung end date ng maintenance. Alam nyo kailan yung starting ng maintenance. Pasok mo ngayon sa ZENworks Asset Management, it will do the monitoring for you. You can set it up. For example, 6 months ahead, inform mo kami kung kailangan namin mag-renew. Yan yung ginagawa ng asset management. We do the software license tracking, including kung ginagamit yung software. For example, bumili ka ng AutoCAD. Nag-request yung team, kailangan namin ng 100 AutoCAD licenses, subscription. At the end of 1 year, using ZENworks Asset Management, you discovered 20 lisensya lang yung ginamit out of 100. So the following year, alam mo na kung ilan lang talaga yung kailangang lisensya. Kasi you can track actual software usage. Regardless of software, guys, whether it's software na nabibili or software na dinevelop in-house, kaya yung i-monitor kung ginagamit yung software up to how many hours and minutes na ginamit ng empleyado. So that's one module. The other module for management is this. Kaya na sinabi ko, meron siyang integrated service desk technology. You can buy this separately or you can get it as part of a suite or a bundle, but then it includes an integrated service desk system. The other product is micro-focused desktop containers. If you know the technology of Docker, okay, this is very similar. The difference is, sa Docker kasi, ang ginagawa mo, ang kino-containerize mo, yung server instance. Pero sa setup namin sa micro-focused desktop container, the idea is, ang kino-containerize namin yung application. Bakit? Diba sa Microsoft, sa Windows, meron dynamic link libraries. So the problem is, every time you install, your dynamic link libraries lumalaki. So yun yung sinasabing bumabagal, one of the reasons bumabagal yung makina mo or whatever. Right? So if we do desktop containerization, hindi nababago yung dynamic link library. In other words, we can maintain an independence ng pag-install or pag-implement ng application sa device itself. Ang anong kinaganda niyan? You can run multiple versions of the same software. Imagine if you're running, let's say, Acrobat Reader version ganito, and then another version of like that. If it is needed because it's required by a particular software, you can run multiple versions. Right now, you just cannot do it unless you run virtual machines. Kaso pa nag-virtual machine ka, you need additional operating systems. Dito, with micro-focused desktop containers, you only need one operating system, get desktop containers, and simply deploy the applications as you need. And you can do this remotely. So that's part of management and security. That's why we call it security, because we secure the application by design upon implementation itself. Yeah. Now let's look at security ngayon, this one, endpoint security management. It's our product that does security management. And right now, meron na siyang anti-malware capability. Okay? So I'll talk about that later. And this one is very saleable in the Philippines. Ito madalas laging hinihingi sa akin is patch management. Imagine the capability to do patch management across any software. Kasi right now, if you're just doing Microsoft updates or Windows updates, you can only update Microsoft products, right? So I'm not saying it's not bad, but unfortunately, hindi lahat ng laman ng laptop mo or ng PC mo or ng kumpanya ninyo ay lahat Microsoft products. Maraming ibang software dyan. So, you can do a policy-driven operating system patching and third-party software application patching using our ZENworks Patch Management. The other one, and this one is, ito yung mga tinatawag kong nice to have. Usually, ang favorite kong customer dito, mga law firms. Kasi they want to make sure that the information sa mga laptops, sa mga lawyers nila are encrypted. So, we have the product called full disk encryption. So, we do a full disk encryption of your Windows devices. And this is an add-on. I'm sorry. And then the last one is connected endpoint backup. So, these two products are optional and can be included if you need to, depending on the criticality of the device itself. Kung yan ay device ng CEO, CXO level, right? And ayaw nyong masira, mawala, then you can use these products in order to, number one, do a good backup of the device, and second, do a full disencryption of those devices. Okay, so, and the good thing about it is it's tied down by the ZENworks reporting tool. So the ZENworks reporting tool is free, so you don't have to buy it. Now this one, the one I showed you, is this one is the usual thing that I present because it tells you that you only need one ZENworks appliance. Our appliance is not hardware, it is a software appliance. So you can load it up to your VM devices or VM machines, or virtual machines, I'm sorry, or you can put it up on the cloud, right? So, built-in na siya. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? The appliances of the ZENworks virtual appliance has all of this. It's already built in. It's just a matter of putting in the license key para malaman kung alin sa mga modules na to ang magagamit yung hindi. Depende sa pangangailangan niyo. So, the unified endpoint management packaging is this, as I explained earlier. All of this are available as modules. So modular po ang approach. In other words, you can buy config management separately from patch, from endpoint security, from full disk encryption, from asset management. You can buy it separately, or you can buy it as a bundle. So the ZENworks suite is a bundle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 products. The sixth product is a 60-day patch management subscription. In other words, after 60 days, kailangan dagdagan mo na siya ngayon ng add-on ng patch management. So may libreng o may kasamang 60-day patch management yung suite. So typically, pag binili sa amin, and we have customers that are doing this, ZENworks suite, and they will add a ZENworks patch management subscription alongside it for, let's say, for example, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. So licensing is per device. Ganun lang siya kadali bilangin. Okay. Now, one of good thing that I need to tell you is the ZENworks Asset Management is that we can also manage anything with an IP address. Pero hindi namin bibilangin yung network device. Ang bibilangin lang natin yung may operating system instance. Okay? So yun lang, PC, server, laptop, and mobile device. That's it. Pero network devices hindi kasama sa bilang. Okay. Next, so what's new with ZENworks? And this is the key. I think I have a few more minutes. Okay, ilang minutes na lang ako, sir? Am I still okay?
Hi, Sir Joel. Yeah, we're still good. I'll
Okay.
update you, sir, if we're running out of time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I don't want to waste anybody's time anyway. So I talk about what's new with ZENworks. And this is very key. For the longest time, we are very much a policy-driven technology. So what we did right now is that we already have anti-malware. So meron na kaming built-in anti-malware in our unified endpoint management. Dati kasi what we do is, we are very much a vendor agnostic pagdating sa anti-malware. Kasi we don't want to change what you are already using. So let's say meron na kayong, meron na kayong ibang anti-malware solution. So yon subscription-based security. Kami, policy-based security. In other words, even if you change your anti-malware, the policies will still remain. Kasi that's typically one of the challenges, no? Na pag nagpalit ka ng anti-malware mo, pati yung mga policies doon matatanggal kasi tatanggalin mo yung agent nila eh. So yun yung typical na nangyayari. So ang ginagawa namin is we work alongside the anti-malware so that anything that is policy-driven will remain kahit nagpapalit-palit kayo ng anti-malware vendor ninyo. Ganito lang yung ginagamit ko usually na example. Pwede kayo magpalit ng security guard sa kumpanya ninyo, Kasi kunyari, ayaw nyo na yung security agency na yun, di ba? Pero hindi naman kasi kayo necessarily magpapalit ng pintuan at saka ng bintana. So yung pintuan at saka bintana, nandiyan pa rin. Right? Hindi nawawala. So yun yung policy. Yung policies nyo is still there. Pero napapalitan lang yung subscription-based security. So right now, we have the option, and you have the option, to have our anti-malware alongside our policy-driven security procedures. So yes, number one, anti-malware. Second, endpoint security has application control. Yung sinasabi namin, the ability to make sure that only those applications that you are allowing your employees to use can be used on the devices managed by the company. Third, removable data drive access and encryption. So you have those particular options. I will explain this later on. Okay, so these are the technologies being used pagdating sa ZENworks endpoint security product namin. Okay. I will explain that later on. Okay, let's talk about anti-malware. Okay. So the platform supported by our anti-malware is workstations for Windows 10 and above, and servers na Windows Server 2012 and above. So we provide threat protection for these devices. It is centrally administered, it is policy configured, and protects against known and zero-day malware threats. I don't think I need to talk about anti-malware so much kasi most of us are already into this and would understand how anti-malware works. Thirdly is threat monitoring. We provide the centralized monitoring of detected malware threats as well as the current malware status of any of your protected or managed endpoints. So what are our detection technologies? It's signature-based detection, generic detection, and heuristics-based detection, which is very similar to many of our contemporary as far as the vendor space is concerned. So what we did is that we partnered with an anti-malware engine and security content partner. So this one is one of the top 3 anti-malware solution provider in the world. And right now is also the top 2 anti-malware technology provider. Okay. If you need more information on it, you can email zen@microfocus.com for more information, or you can call me separately from this particular, presentation. Okay. So what we do is endpoint scanning and remediation. Okay. So basically what your typical anti-malware does, including on-access and on-demand scanning, threat remediation, and then endpoint anti-malware configuration. So part of the policy here is this one, how to enforce it, how to do the custom scan and the network scan, and what are the exclusions in the scanning. So kasama siya sa configuration modules or features. Okay, including the scan schedules. And then the interaction, the administrators of ZENworks can determine how much interaction the user, the empleyado, no, yung gumagamit ng makina, has with the anti-malware agent. So the user, okay, can scan, remediate, and quarantine based on what the administrators has given them permissions to do so, no, kapag pwede. So including notifications and alerts. And then, of course, device status monitoring. Anti-malware data is displayed in the ZENworks Control Center, which is fully web-based. And then, so that you can see it in a more holistic view. Sabi ko nga, it's a unified view of everything. Right? So the ZENworks Control Center, this is how it typically looks like. It's called security dashlets. So when we create the ZENworks Control Center, it is, sabi ko kanina, web-based. You can change, you can modify, configure the control center dashboard to include what particular security dashlets you want to see. That's so that you have a view of what's happening in the whole enterprise. So you can see also the device anti-malware view, the current view, anong status, nakapag-scan ba, alin yung hindi pa na-scan, ikita siya, and also the view of the malware, kung ano siya, anong malware yung tumatakbo sa system. So that one is for anti-malware. So typically, those are the use cases for anti-malware. Now, let me talk about briefly other use cases for ZENworks endpoint security. First is controlling USB device access. I know for a fact many of you are not doing this anymore, but I think there are still people who are still doing USB. No, yung bang they're used to using USB to be the backup for some of their files and all that stuff. So these are basically 4 typical use cases being utilized by ZENworks users worldwide. First, an administrator wants to be able to specify a USB device criteria. So for example, gusto ng administrator na dapat yung USB na ginagamit sa laptop na yan or sa PC na yan is an approved USB device. Okay? So we can create a list in order to make sure so that kapag may kinabit dyan yung empleyado na hindi approved USB device, hindi siya gagana. Okay? Hindi siya makakapag-save, as in literally wala siya magagawa. Second, when connected to an enterprise managed computer, so for example, my machine is an enterprise managed computer, an administrator wants only approved mass storage devices to have full access. Okay? Pero ibang USB mass storage device could either be prohibited or limited. Yeah. So that's one final example. Okay. Thirdly, an administrator wants to encrypt all removable storage devices. No? Masyadong what they call this, very, very strict. Gusto niya na administrator na kapag may connect na tawag dito na storage device doon sa laptop, kailangan i-encrypt siya. Yeah. So that's another use case na ginagamit worldwide. Fourth, an administrator wants computer-based policy to block USB mass storage device on all enterprise managed computers. Those are ways in order to protect the USB ports. No? So pwede mag-connect ng USB input devices, mouse, for example, or let's say camera. Pero pag yan ay storage device, may bawal. Another thing that I didn't put here is ZENworks has the capability to also monitor files being stored, coming in and out of a USB device. So kayang gawin ni ZENworks yun. It is not by default. It's an option if required by the company. Usually that is being done kapag gumagawa ng risk management or may investigation na ginagawa sa loob ng kumpanya. So kunyari gusto nila malaman kung sino lalabas ng data, right? So they can actually enable a ZENworks agent sa isang makina to do the monitoring of that particular device if they think that particular user is doing something fishy. So another type of use case is enforcing the VPN usage, especially for remote devices right now. Kung yung kung yung PC ng empleyado is a very critical PC or laptop, you can enforce VPN usage on that. In other words, hindi siya pwedeng connect sa internet pwera lang kung naka-VPN siya. There's no way, whether i-connect niya sa Wi-Fi, connect niya sa RJ45 or whatever, if it's not using a VPN connection, it will not allow access. So these are examples of a use case na pwedeng gawin with ZENworks endpoint security. Third, use scripting to enhance third-party solutions. Let's say an administrator wants to monitor a process or an application. Pero pag shutdown yung application, okay, it will warn the user that it's a required application. Right? So for example, hindi niya basta-basta pwedeng patayin yung application. Right? So pwedeng mag-run ng ganung mga scripts so that the system will monitor not just the admin, but also the user na, sorry po, hindi pwede itong i-turn off. Only the administrators can turn off this particular application, and so on and so forth. Something similar to that, right? Second, an administrator wants to be able to use location awareness to launch a third-party application or solution in specific location. I'll give an example. This one particular use case that I encountered a few years ago. Pag yung laptop ay ginamit sa isang internet cafe or kinonect yung kumonect sa Wi-Fi ng isang coffee shop, may application na magpa-pop up in order to warn the empleyado na hindi siya basta-basta gagamit mo. Or let's say, pag yun yung na-detect niya via location, by default, papatakbuhin niya ngayon yung enforcing the VPN usage. So those are examples of how these particular use cases can be applied if you want to use, if you're looking for those particular use cases at kung merong ganong klaseng requirement, ZENworks Endpoint Security can help you. And the last thing that we can do with ZENworks Endpoint Security is controlling access to wireless networks. Imagine in the same building, pwede mong sabihin na itong laptop na to, hindi siya pwedeng umaccess sa isang network device na hindi allowed sa list. Especially for very, very strict requirements. So that's example. An administrator wants to ensure that the user will only connect to an approved SSID. And so, ganun yun, especially if the laptop needs to be very, very secure. Kasi nga, yung network niya will also be controlled and monitored. So these are examples. I will not read to the last two, kasi that's basically what controlling access to wireless network is all about. Okay. So, I'm going back to what I'm showing you right now. So this is what we are offering and helping out pagdating sa mga companies here. I cannot talk to you about the companies using it in the Philippines right now, but I can tell you it is a fair share of both government and local companies as well. So these are the products that are available. Again, it's all available as modules and can also be bought as a suite. And you can always come to VST-ECS to discuss this one for you. We can run a demonstration with you at your convenience with the help of our distributor, VST-ECS. Okay, so what we do for ZENworks is very simple. Manage it, secure it, protect it. It's identity-based. It will run on-premise or on the cloud or from the cloud. It's an unbeatable return investment. We can talk pricing later on. And it is integrated, as I told you early in my presentation, integrated with our behavioral and content analytics in order to provide detection and response to security events and detect and protect sensitive company data on the endpoint. So that is my presentation. I would like to thank you for the time.